Hello my friends. Students, we have already started our physics and now we are going to study chapter number 2 from the book of 11th science. The chapter is units and measurement. In fact, for measurement in physics we need many physical quantities. I hope you know the word physical quantity and you can give me many examples. You got many examples. You know many physical quantities. Let us revise. You know mass, you know length. These are the physical quantities you know: mass, length, time, area, volume, density, displacement, velocity, acceleration, force. These are well known examples for you. In fact, my dear friends, there is a very large number of physical quantities in physics. In fact, it is much difficult for us to prepare a list of physical quantities. You can try to prepare a list at your home. First of all, the important thing is physical quantities are classified, are divided into two types. Here are the types. Look at this. Quantity, physical quantity. Quantities are classified into two types. Fundamental or base, simply base or basic. Another type is derived physical quantities. These are the two types. Now the question is, students, how can we determine whether any physical quantity is a fundamental or derived? In order to understand the types, we have to understand the idea or the logic or the definition of these two types. Two words, fundamental and derived. For that, we require some physical quantities as examples. So, I am writing here some physical quantities for you only, and the physical quantities which are known by you. Number 1, mass. Number 2, length. Number 3, time. Number 4, displacement. Number 5, velocity. Number 6, acceleration. Force. Area. Volume. Density. These are some examples, and these examples are well known. Think about all physical quantities. You have studied, you have learned these physical quantities in your 9th or 10th. Now the question is, do you know if mass is a fundamental or derived? Do you know if force is a fundamental or derived quantity? No, you don't know. In order to classify these physical quantities into two types, you require to understand the definitions, actual meaning of these types, fundamental and derived. For this, I am trying to explain you the definition. Fundamental, think about. What do you think about fundamental? Basic. What do you mean by basic? A group of some minimum quantities. Suppose if you get a minimum number of quantities for fundamental of a basic group, and using these quantities, if you are able to obtain or derive all other physical quantities. This can be explained or this can be understood in this way. Look at this. We have some numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 0. These are numbers. These are only 10 numbers. Consider these 10 numbers as minimum, fundamental or basic numbers. Now if you are asked to write a number 1356, so this number 1356 can be written by using any numbers from this 10, basic or fundamental. Thus the numbers from 0 to 9 are fundamental, and any other number which can be written by using these fundamental numbers. So a group of physical quantities by using which we can derive all other physical quantities. So this group is called base group or fundamental group of physical quantities. Here is the definition for you. Fundamental physical quantities can be defined as, look at this, minimum number of certain physical quantities minimum number of certain physical quantities. Word minimum is important, word certain is important. Minimum number of certain physical quantities by using which we can derive or obtain any other physical quantity. Using minimum number of physical quantities, if we are able to derive any other physical quantity, means all other physical quantities are called, this minimum number, certain physical quantities are called fundamental or base quantities. We can derive any other physical quantity are called fundamental or base quantities. So you have to understand this definition in this manner. certain or minimum physical quantities are called fundamental or base physical quantities. Meaning is in the definition. Now you can define derived physical quantities very easily. If by using minimum number of physical quantities we can derive all other physical quantities, then these all other quantities are called derived. Isn't it easy? It's very easy. Minimum number of physical quantities which are required for the derivation of all other physical quantities. So the minimum quantities are called fundamental, and remaining all other are known as derived physical quantities. So what can we write in the definition of derived? All other physical quantities which can be obtained by doing various combinations of base quantities are called derived physical quantities. All other physical quantities which can be obtained by doing various combinations of base quantities. Base means which have been obtained previously, which are main, which are fundamental. Using 2 or 3 or 4 fundamental physical quantities, doing their combinations, we can get many other quantities, and those quantities are called derived quantities. Now look at this. We can classify our quantities which we have taken as examples. These quantities can be classified here into fundamental and derived. You can do it for yourself. Yet I'll explain for 1 or 2 quantities. Take length. Think about the difference between length and area. We know that in area there is length, there is breadth. Actually breadth is also known as length. Both are measured in the same unit. So area is combination of 2 lengths, or area is the product of 2 different lengths. So in order to measure area we need length. Thus the physical quantity length is called base or fundamental quantity, but area is called derived. The meaning is area can be derived using length. Hence we can say that length is a fundamental or basic quantity while area is a derived quantity. Okay, think about the difference between length and volume. Volume is defined as, or a formula of volume is length into breadth into height, as you know. Now breadth and height both are equivalent to length, means all the 3 physical quantities length, breadth and height are measured in the same unit. It means they are lengths. All the 3 are lengths. In simple words you can say that volume is length into length into length. It's length cube. or cube of length. So volume requires length as fundamental quantity, hence length again is fundamental, volume is a derived. Okay, now think about density. Do you know the formula of density? You know, yaar, density is very well known. Okay, I'll give you the formula. Density is defined as the ratio of mass to volume. You know the ratio. In the numerator there is mass, in denominator there is volume. Mass upon volume is called density. Okay, so in density there are two physical quantities, or there is combination of two physical quantities, mass and volume. Okay, now you already know that volume is a derived quantity. Density requires one fundamental and another one derived quantity. It means density is a combination of two physical quantities. One of them is mass, and that is fundamental. Another volume, that is derived. So density is obtained as the combination of different quantities, and hence density is a derived physical quantity. Okay guys, thus we have studied, or we have learnt about two types of physical quantities, and they are fundamental and derived. In the next lecture we will start studying some systems of measurement, in which we will take different physical quantities as fundamental quantities which have been determined, and we will try to understand their units. Okay, thank you.